Welcome to Betrayal Stories. In today's story, An Unexpected Night. That night began like any other. Calm, predictable, unremarkable. The kind of night that makes you believe life will always stay the same. Until it doesn't. I had no idea that by the next morning, everything I believed about trust, loyalty, and family would be shattered forever. Rufus, my stepson, had always been a quiet boy. He wasn't rude, but there was a distance in him that I could never seem to close. He lived under the same roof, but somehow he always felt far away, like a guest passing through his own home. I tried to connect with him, to build the bridge that families are meant to stand on, but he lived behind a wall of silence, and I learned to stop knocking. Still, that night felt different from the start. When Rufus came home, he wasn't alone. He had brought his friend, Chinidu, a tall, quiet boy with thoughtful eyes and a calmness that felt almost unsettling. I had seen him a few times before, but he had never stayed long enough for me to notice him this closely. He was polite, reserved, and yet there was something about him that felt like an unanswered question. The way he looked at things, slow, deliberate, cautious, made me feel like he was constantly reading the world around him, searching for meanings hidden beneath ordinary moments. They greeted me politely and went straight to Rufus's room. I remember watching them disappear down the hallway, the sound of their footsteps fading into the distance. The air that followed them was strangely heavy. I couldn't explain why, but a feeling in my chest told me that something about that night would not end quietly. Hours passed, the moon climbed higher, and the house fell into silence. I turned off the lights, locked the front door, and went to bed. But sleep refused to come. There was a restlessness in the air, the kind that makes your heart beat faster for no reason you can name. I was drifting between dreams and half-conscious thoughts when I heard it. Faint whispering, coming from down the hall. Two voices, Rufus's and someone else's. I couldn't make out the words at first. I thought I was imagining it, but then I heard Chinidu's voice clearly. "If you keep it, it'll destroy everything." His tone was sharp, urgent, and Rufus answered, almost trembling. "You don't understand. It's already too late." My blood ran cold. Destroy what? Too late for what? I sat there, frozen, listening to the sound of fear in Rufus's voice. They weren't just talking. They were arguing, almost whispering to hide something. After a moment, the voices went quiet. The sound of footsteps followed, and then nothing. The house fell silent again, but the quiet didn't bring peace. It brought questions. I waited a few minutes before stepping out of bed. The hallway was dimly lit, and the air felt heavier with each step I took. Rufus's door was slightly open. Light spilled from the room in a thin golden line that sliced through the dark. I pushed the door just enough to peek inside. The boys were gone. The window was open, curtains swaying slightly with the night breeze. But what caught my attention was the mess. Rufus's desk drawers were pulled open, papers scattered everywhere like someone had been searching for something in a hurry. I stepped inside and noticed something shiny beneath the bed. I reached down and pulled it out, a small black box, locked tight with a metal latch. Across the top was a strip of white tape with a date written in ink, March 7th. I didn't know what it meant, but the weight of it in my hands made my stomach twist. It was heavy, as though it carried more than metal, like it carried a secret. I didn't have time to think. Footsteps echoed in the hallway again. I pushed the box back under the bed and turned around just as Rufus appeared in the doorway. He froze when he saw me there. "What are you doing?" His voice was defensive, harsh. "I heard something," I said quickly. "I just wanted to make sure you were okay." He stepped forward slowly, his eyes flicking toward the floor, right where I'd found the box. His jaw tightened. "You shouldn't be in here," he said quietly. Then Chinidu appeared behind him, standing tall, his expression unreadable. For a brief moment, the three of us stood there in silence, the air thick with tension and unspoken words. I left the room without another word. That night, I barely slept. The next morning, Rufus acted as if nothing had happened. He sat at the kitchen table, scrolling through his phone, eating cereal, calm as ever. But something in his eyes had changed. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Yeah," he said without looking up. "Why wouldn't it be? I wanted to ask about the whispers, the argument, the black box." but the words refused to come out. Later that day, Chinidu came back. I heard the door close and the lock click on Rufus's room again. This time I couldn't resist. I leaned against the wall near the vent that connected our rooms, and through the faint hum of air, their voices came through. "I told you," Rufus said, his tone sharp. "I can't get rid of it now." "Then you need to tell her," Chinidu whispered back. "She has a right to know." Rufus's voice cracked. "No, you don't understand what that means." My heart started to race. Tell who? Were they talking about me? The next day I found something strange. A small flash drive slipped under my bedroom door. There was no note, no explanation, just the silver drive, resting there like a silent confession. I hesitated, then plugged it into my laptop. At first, the screen stayed black. Then one folder appeared. Truth. Inside, a single video file. Truth MP4. I clicked it, and what I saw changed everything. The footage was grainy, shaky, taken from a phone camera. Rufus and Chinidu were there, standing in what looked like a basement. The light flickered. They were arguing again. "We shouldn't have taken it," Chinidu said, his voice panicked. Rufus looked desperate. "It's evidence," he said. "We couldn't just leave it." Then the camera shifted, and behind them I saw something. Someone, lying motionless on the ground. My breath caught. "If anything happens to me," Rufus said suddenly, looking into the lens, "tell her I'm sorry." The video ended abruptly. The screen went black. My heart was pounding so loudly that for a moment I couldn't hear anything else. I sat there for hours, frozen. When morning came, I confronted Rufus. He looked pale the second I mentioned the video. "You saw it?" he whispered. I nodded. "Then tell me what's going on," I demanded. He dropped onto the couch, hands shaking. "It wasn't supposed to happen," he said softly. "We didn't mean to get involved." "Involved in what?" I asked. He looked up at me, eyes full of regret. "That night, we went to the old factory near the highway. Chinidu found something hidden there. The box. It has files, money, documents, things that belong to people you don't cross. We thought we were doing the right thing, that we could give it to the police. But someone saw us." His voice cracked. "Now they're watching." That night, I woke to the sound of a car engine outside. I went to the window and saw a black SUV parked across the street. The engine idled, headlights dimmed. I couldn't see the driver, but I could feel their eyes. Then, a knock on the door, quiet, careful. When I opened it, Chinidu stood there. He looked terrified. "They know," he said. "They followed me here." "Who?" I asked. But before he could answer, there was movement outside. Shadows shifting. He grabbed my hand. "We have to go. Now." Everything after that felt like a blur. We woke Rufus, packed what little we could carry, and slipped out the back door. The cold air bit through our clothes as we ran into the night. Behind us, I thought I heard footsteps, but maybe it was just my heart pounding. We reached the edge of the woods, breathless, trembling. That's when Chinidu handed me something small and cold, the black box. "Keep this safe," he said. "If anything happens to us, this will explain everything." "What's inside?" I asked. He looked at me, eyes full of fear. "The truth." "But the truth has a price. We hid in an old cabin deep in the forest for days. The silence there was suffocating. Every sound, and a creak, a gust of wind, the snapping of a twig, made us jump. Rufus grew restless. He couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Then one night I woke up and he was gone. His bag, his phone, his jacket, gone. So was the box. Chinidu's face turned white. "He made a deal," he whispered. "He's giving it back to them." "No," I said. "He wouldn't." But deep down, I knew he would do anything to protect us. By sunrise, news spread. A car had been found burned on the side of the highway. The driver's body was too damaged to identify. The box was gone. I refused to believe it was Rufus. But the truth has a way of forcing itself in, no matter how hard you try to keep it out. Days passed, then weeks. The police never came. No one ever asked about the factory, the box, or the people who wanted it. Chinidu vanished soon after. One morning he was gone, leaving behind nothing but a folded note that said, "It's over. Don't look for me. That was 2 years ago. The world has moved on, but I haven't." Sometimes at night, I still wake to that same soft knock on the door. Sometimes when I look outside, I see that same black SUV parked in the distance, engine humming quietly in the dark. The truth about what was inside that box has never been revealed, and maybe it never will be, but I've learned something. Something I'll never forget. Betrayal doesn't always come from lies. Sometimes it comes from the silence we keep to protect the people we love. And that unexpected night, taught me that secrets, no matter how deeply buried, always find their way back to the surface. Welcome to Betrayal Stories, where every truth comes at a cost.